Good morning to all. Today our chapter, that is physics chapter number 5 from physics book, light and shadow. Light and shadow from class 7 physics book. I have discussed slight bit the what is light, what are the sources of light, what are the features of light, and today I am going to explain just repeating the sources of light. See, sources of light can be divided into two categories. How many categories? Two categories. From where you are getting light, that is two categories we are dividing. One is natural sources of light, another is man-made sources of light. That means sources of light can be divided into two categories. One is natural sources of light, another is man-made sources of light. The natural sources, let me discuss. The natural bodies that are part of nature and emit light, such as the sun, stars, fireflies, are natural sources of light. Stars are generally much brighter than the sun, but the light emitted by a star never reaches us fully, as stars are too far away from us. I think clear? Next sources of light, bioluminescence. Some living organisms, some living organisms produce light as a result of the chemical reaction occurring inside their bodies. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. Examples of such animals are deep sea angelfish, fireflies, etc. If you have seen a firefly at night, you have encountered a bioluminescence organism. Bioluminescence is a occurrence, common common occurrence in underwater animals. In fact, most animals from bacteria to sharks include some bioluminescence members. Bioluminescence organisms are also found throughout marine ecosystems, ecosystem from the ocean surface to the deep sea floor. Next come to the man-made. The man-made sources, man-made sources of light. Man-made sources of light such as candle, electric lamp, torches, etc. are not a part of the nature and are made by human beings. These are also known as artificial sources of light. Hot and cold sources of light. One is hot and cold sources of light. Have you ever, by accident, touched the surface of a lighted incandescent bulb? How did it feel? Hot or cold? Hot. This is because the bulb has a tungsten filament in it. At room temperature, it does not emit any light. When electric current is passed through the tungsten filament, it gets heated and starts emitting light. At this stage, the filament in an incandescent state. Okay, the sources of light which emit light when heated are called hot sources of light. The sources of light which emit light when heated. Just underline this one. When heated, the sources of light which emit light when heated are called hot sources of light. So what are the hot sources of light? Or incandescent bodies. The sources which emit light but not get hot are called cold sources of light. Another question. One is hot sources of light, another is cold sources of light. Two definitions you have to learn properly. A fluorescent tube, commonly called a tube light, is a cold source of light. This is one example of cold sources of light because it emits light at room temperature by the process of fluorescence. Fireflies emit short bursts of light due to photochemical reaction, which take part at room temperature. So, a firefly is also a cold sources of light. I think it is clear. Now, what are the cold sources of light? Definition with example you have to memorize. Another is hot sources of light. What are the hot sources of light? Definition with few examples. Try to practice this much. Thank you for today class. Next day I will do remaining part of this chapter, light chapter.